Great North Woods to the Rockbound Post and streaming live in HD worldwide at foxbangor.com. More people choose Good Morning Maine.
Hello everyone. Today on Good Morning Maine, we'll hear from the owner of Quality Jewelers regarding the act of vandalism that took place yesterday.
Plus, Penobscot Air will receive a portion of the payment they're owed by the Postal Service, ending the mail delivery pause along the Mid-Coast.
And Bangor residents celebrated Earth Day by volunteering in a citywide cleanup. We'll bring you that story as well. Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Maine. I'm Janessa Bishop.
And I'm Craig Colson. Thank you for joining us this morning. We'll have those stories and we'll meet our pet of the week this hour coming up. But first, to check that forecast, and kind of a gloomy day out there again today.
It is.
It's not quite as cold. That's the good news.
Yeah, true.
But we will be dealing with some rain on and off today into tomorrow morning. And then things will be warming up and brightening up a little bit.
That's good news.
Yeah.
We'll turn things over to meteorologist Devin Biggs.
And thank you very much, Craig and Janessa. Happy Thursday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Quality Automotive and Brewer. Experience the Quality Automotive difference. Reliable service and expert care that you can depend on. Call us to schedule your next appointment. 922-2043. Alrighty, here we go. Some rain and snow passing through this morning. Not concerned with any accumulations, especially with temperatures forecasted to rise above freezing. So let's zoom things out this morning. We're seeing that area low pressure rotating through, bringing with it the rain and snow that will continue tonight into parts of tomorrow. So again, you may see some of that, especially tonight, but melting as we head towards tomorrow as well. So here's Futurecast with the rain and snow passing through. We'll see some of that for tonight at times, but also for tomorrow, a little bit of precipitation that will be occurring. So some gusty winds, especially further off towards the west today, that could reach up to 20 to even 25 miles per hour. But overall, again, not too bad tonight, but picking up again as we head towards tomorrow. So your forecast for today, mostly cloudy, some rain and snow showers, but again, not looking too terrible snow-wise, with highs in the upper 40s and that northwest wind at about 25 miles per hour. Here's your hourly forecast. Some rain, some snow mixing in. Temperature is in the 40s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Craig and Janessa?
Sounds good. Thank you very much, Devin. A Bangor man who police say was found in his underwear while allegedly trying to break into cars early Wednesday morning is now believed to be connected to a swath of overnight vandalism all across the city of Bangor.
As our Alex Schley tells us, a number of local businesses were impacted before an arrest was made.
Get on my cameras, I see there's a giant rock through my door. Not what you want to wake up to.
That was the reality that Zach Leclerc, owner of Quality Jewelers, woke up to Wednesday morning, along with a number of other Bangor business owners. Bangor police say the man captured on video is believed to be 34-year-old Alexander Justice.
I was notified, I got right down here, met with the police. Our cameras were able to capture the video of the guy actually doing the act. We got some really good shots of him, and it seems like the police got him right away.
Investigators say they believe the damage spree began at the plaza at the corner of Exchange and Washington Streets, where in addition to Quality Jewelers, rocks were also thrown through the windows of Heroes Sports Grill and Entertainment Center and Henry's Bridal Boutique.
They didn't have him in custody until I showed him the video, but I'm sure there was other businesses that caught him.
Police say the vandalism continued down Exchange Street, where windows at TD Bank and the courthouse were also shattered. From there, Justice is believed to have made his way to State Street, where he allegedly damaged the storefront of both Friday Pawn Shop and Tie Etc. Just before 7 o'clock, officers were called to Center Street for reports of a man in his underwear trying to break into vehicles.
They arrived and observed an individual actively trying to get into a vehicle that did not belong to him.
Justice has since been charged with failure to report a crime, criminal mischief, and probation violation. Business owners say while the cost to repair the damage set them back about $1,000, they're more concerned about the state of their community.
When these things happen, people don't want to be around here. It makes it incredibly tough to run a business. And I'm not alone when I say that we're really fed up.
Investigators say nothing was stolen from the vandalized businesses. In Bangor, Alex Schley for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Meanwhile, authorities are also searching for those who vandalized a beloved tree in Orono. It's known as the Big Old Tree and is located in the Jeremiah Colburn Natural Area. According to the Orono Land Trust, someone used spray paint to mark a portion of the tree's trunk. The Public Works Department is now looking into ways to safely remove the paint with hopes of saving the tree. And the tree is believed to be over 350 years old.
Well, town leaders in Lemoyne are warning those who apply for construction permits that scam emails are circulating related to those applications. A letter from the town treasurer, Stu Marcoon, says some applicants have received emails from an unknown sender demanding payment for, quote, application review and approval fees, asking the recipient to wire a large amount of money.
Macroon says that the email address is not a legitimate town address and is not actually from the town planning division or the chair as it claims to be. He also says that the emails come from a USA.com domain and there's actually no such thing as the Town of Lemoyne Planning Division. Marcoon says that if you get one of those emails, do not respond or open any attachments, but rather just delete it. If you've been harmed by this or any other scam, contact law enforcement immediately. Well, moving on this morning, Elliot Cutler once again stands accused of violating his probation. The former gubernatorial candidate is now facing his 5th probation violation charge after allegedly refusing to disclose passwords or keys used to access his electronic devices to investigators. That's according to a motion filed by his probation officer on Tuesday. Cutler was convicted in 2023 on 4 counts of possession of sexually explicit material of a minor under 12. In February, he was incarcerated without bail for his 3rd alleged probation violation. We reached out to Cutler's attorney, Walter McKee, for comment. He said, quote, Mr. Cutler denies these allegations. Cutler is scheduled to appear in Hancock County Court on May 15th for a probation hearing.
Game officials continue the search for a missing man from Winslow. They're now asking people to check their security cameras for any footage that might show 24-year-old Zachary Crothers. Crothers has developmental disabilities and hasn't been seen since he left his home around 3:35 Sunday afternoon. Wardens are also asking people who live around Clinton Avenue, Benton Avenue, and Halifax Street in Winslow to check their camera footage there. They also hope they'll check any sheds or other outbuildings that they might have on their properties. Anyone with information that may help can call Winslow Police at 872-5215.
Well, it's an overdue step in the right direction. A local air delivery company will be receiving around $97,000 from the U.S. Postal Service, a 25% chunk of an overdue balance dating back to 2023.
Our Doug Banks with that story.
An update in the dispute between Penobscot Island Air and the United States Postal Service. In a Facebook post Tuesday night, the local delivery company announced that USPS will pay off 25% of the roughly $388,000 it owes the company for deliveries dating back to 2023. As of Wednesday, Penobscot Island Air is back to work. We have a framework for going forward, its post said. There's enough clarity for us to work with. Senator Susan Collins encouraged by the update.
The Postal Service has a responsibility to ensure that mail is delivered in a timely fashion. That commitment is especially important in a rural state like Maine.
Aside from some good faith payments earlier this year, company officials say they hadn't received a payment from USPS since March 13th, forcing them on Tuesday to halt deliveries to Vinyl Haven, North Haven, and Matinicus Island.
We are an independent small company and we cannot continue to do this the way it's been going.
It's crucial that they have mail service.
What the hell is going on over there? What is going wrong? And why do we have to hear these complaints so often?
A spokesperson with the Postal Service told us on Tuesday they'd reach out to Penobscot Island representatives to resolve the matter, but couldn't go into the specifics of its business relationship. The company says that USPS will make that 25% payment this coming Friday. Doug Banks reporting for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Maine's referendum on transgender athletes in school sports is facing a legal challenge. Several Maine residents have filed a lawsuit claiming referendum supporters did not gather enough signatures to put it on the ballot this fall. The Secretary of State's office concedes some mistakes were made in validating those signatures, but Jenna Bello says there weren't enough mistakes to keep the referendum off the ballot.
The people who filed the suit claim hundreds of people signed the petition more than once, and some were not legally registered to vote. It will be up to the court to decide whether Mainers will be able to consider that issue when they head to the polls in November. Well, meanwhile, 3 top Democratic candidates for governor held a joint press conference at Granite Hall Park in Hallowell yesterday to announce their endorsement from Sierra Club Maine, a volunteer-run grassroots organization focused on environmental advocacy. Secretary of State Shenna Bellows, former House Speaker Hannah Pingree, and former Senate President Troy Jackson all received the organization's endorsement. Sierra Club Maine Political Committee Chair Emma Conrad says its endorsement process spanned several months and consisted of reviewing candidates all across the parties, environmental records, and the organization's questionnaire responses.
A Green New Deal for Maine would invest and have the state install solar panels, heat pumps, and conduct weatherization on LIHEAP eligible homes.
I also supported pioneering laws to tackle the PFAS crisis and the first in the nation law that required big corporations to pay for wasteful packaging.
We supported more than 250 towns through the Community Resilience Partnership, like Hallowell, to prepare for future storms and save taxpayers' money.
Maine's gubernatorial primary election is on June 9th.
Bangor residents turned Earth Day into a day of action, joining forces for a citywide cleanup. Volunteers work together to beautify public spaces and make a lasting impact.
Our Alexa Kennedy has that story.
This Earth Day, Bangor community members joined Needlepoint Sanctuary for a citywide cleanup, volunteering their time to improve parks and public spaces. The day-long event brought together residents and organizations with the goal of making Bangor cleaner and stronger. Public health community organizer for Needlepoint Sanctuary, Luke Sakara Flanders, emphasizes the importance of collective action.
Environmental issues affect everybody. Everybody needs a clean environment. We want to collaborate with as broad a spread of organizations as possible to really make this a community celebration of our earth and of our responsibility to care for the environment.
Needlepoint Sanctuary partnered with numerous local and statewide advocacy organizations, including the Maine Environmental Education Association and Bangor Area Recovery Network.
The only way we can weather this storm is to work together.
Flanders says that even small efforts like cleanups can bring people closer.
Once you step away from that screen and you see the people that actually are present in your community, you see that you share a lot more than you may realize.
For volunteers like Bangor resident Jack Williams, the cleanup is personal.
I take pride in being from Bangor, and so I like to see Bangor being as clean as possible, you know, and just make it the best it can be.
Flanders says they hope to make the community cleanup an annual Earth Day tradition.
By practicing a relationship of responsibility rather than extraction and viewing the environment as something to simply be taken from, where we're taking steps to leave a better world behind for future generations.
In Bangor, Alexa Kennedy, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
It's a great example for all of us.
Definitely. Yeah. Well, the time now is 8:13. Coming up next on Good Morning Maine, the Red Cross is looking for more donors come summertime. We'll have that story ahead.
But first, another look at the forecast. Today will be a rainy day, a chance of snow as well. High temperatures around 48 degrees. More of the same tonight, with lows dropping down to just below freezing. And tomorrow will also start off mostly cloudy with rain and snow, but then it will clear up some. Highs tomorrow around 46. We'll be right back.
Keep your feet on the ground, they said. So many people have told you you can't. They say you don't listen. So you don't listen to them. You rise to your moment. It feels like every idea is crystal clear. It feels like every line, every angle is perfect. It feels like you are at the top of your game. And with Fidium Fiber Internet, you are.
It feels like Fidium. There are so many fun things to do in Maine. Now you can enjoy more for less. Check out half-off deals from foxbangor.com.
For the perfect floral arrangement, look no further than Luigi & Fredericks in Bangor. Our expert florists beautifully arrange flowers for any celebration or occasion. Trust Luigi & Fredericks for bouquets that brighten anyone's day.
There's a limited supply available. It's on sale right now. Save with half-off deals from foxbangor.com.
Get ready for mowing season, for hauling season, and exploring season. Get ready for tearing it up, cutting it down, and working all around season. Because it's bad boy season. All year long. Bad boy. Power, performance, attitude.
It's Saturday, recovery day. So cool off and get ready for a change-up. Because tonight, it's high heat. Wow! Bang! Cubs. Goodbye! Dodgers. You can feel the energy. But he's got it. In prime time on Fox. Start the party! If it's Saturday night, it's baseball night in America. Saturday at 7 Eastern on Fox. Check local listings.
Folks in the Bangor area can breathe easier, quite literally. The American Lung Association released its 27th annual State of the Air report, and it is shining a spotlight on the Bangor metro area as the only metro area in the nation to appear on all 3 of the cleanest city lists. The report findings show continued strong air quality in the Bangor metro area, which in the report includes all of Penobscot County with A grades for ozone and the daily measure of particle pollution. The area also scored a ranking of 10th best in the nation for the year-round average of particle pollution. That's a slight decline from last year, but is still a high ranking overall. Ozone and particle pollution are widespread and can impact anyone's health, but infants, children, and teens are more susceptible to those health impacts. Ozone smog is a powerful respiratory irritant linked to a sunburn of the lungs. Particle pollution can cause a host of respiratory problems and can also cause lung cancer. Hancock County actually tied for 9th cleanest county in the country for the year-round measure of fine particle pollution.
That's good news.
It is.
Well, you may not realize this, but spring is an important time for the Red Cross. Since donations typically drop in the summer, the organization is now asking folks to step up now. The Red Cross says the warmer months bring more movement and activity among the population, which unfortunately means more accidents and emergencies. So the Red Cross is speaking out about the need for more blood donors.
There's a constant need for blood. Every 2 seconds, someone in the United States needs blood, so it's important to have the blood on the shelves, and donating now makes sure that we can do that in the coming weeks and months ahead.
You can go to redcrossblood.org if you'd like to make a donation.
National Drug Take Back Day is approaching, and Northern Light health experts are speaking out about why this day is so important. They say they want to make sure that while folks are thinking about their spring cleaning, they also include their medicine cabinets and get rid of expired or unwanted medications.
It's important to do that because you don't want them to fall into the hands of a child or someone who is unknowingly taking something that may harm them, or a pet even. Pets can get into our medications too.
Sudik says that folks should not put sharps, inhalers, or liquids in the drug take-back box. Sharps should be deposited into a box and then taped up. Inhalers can be thrown in the trash, and liquids should be mixed with a substance that would prevent them from being consumed, like kitty litter, and then disposed of in a separate bag. National Drug Take Back Day is this coming Saturday.
We all have them in our medicine cabinets. This is a good way to get rid of them, and not only will it keep it out of the wrong hands, it will also protect the environment, because if you just throw it in the trash, it'll end up in a landfill, then that will leach down into the groundwater, and we don't want that.
Yeah. No. Well, the time now is 8:18. After the break, new cuts are being made in healthcare research. We'll take you to that hearing coming up.
Plus, a Bangor resident was targeted in a new scam involving his missing cat. We'll hear all about it straight ahead on Good Morning Maine.
When Paramount Paving wants to know the local forecast, they log on to foxbangor.com. Paramount Paving in Old Town provides expert paving, seal coating services to eastern and central Maine. Currently booking for the 2025 season. Call for a free estimate today.
Need a driveway paved or an entire road surfaced? Give Eaton Paving and Excavation a call. Eaton Paving offers a full line of excavation packages, from new home projects to new and replacement septics and driveways. We also install new shoreland and do shoreland repairs. Our operators have more than 75 years combined experience, and we have been delivering quality, professional service for nearly 3 decades. We strive to exceed your expectations. Give us a call today at 207-348-5630 or visit us at EatonPaving.com.
Roto-Rooter has served the greater Bangor area and beyond for 35 years, offering plumbing, hydrojetting, snaking, descaling, video inspection, and grease interceptor cleaning services. For all your residential and commercial clogs, call Roto-Rooter today, 990-1234.
And away go troubles down the drain. Roto-Rooter.
Need a safe and caring place for your loved one during the day? At the Merchant Center Adult Day program, we provide a supportive environment where adults can enjoy companionship, engaging activities, and personalized care in a setting that feels like home. Our experienced staff is committed to meeting each person's unique needs while promoting independence, dignity, and overall well-being. Families can feel confident knowing their loved ones are in compassionate, capable hands.
When Paramount Paving wants to know the local forecast, they log on to foxbangor.com. Paramount Paving in Old Town provides expert paving, seal coating services to eastern and central Maine. Currently booking for the 2025 season. Call for a free estimate today.
A Bangor resident is warning people about a scam that almost cost him thousands of dollars just to be reunited with his missing cat.
Our Grace Blanchard with that story.
I know you can't really believe anything you see in front of your face, but I just really wanted to believe that she was alive.
That sense of hope and an AI-generated photo almost made Bangor resident Ross Kennedy the victim of a scam.
There are a lot of scams out there, and now with AI, it's even worse.
On Friday night, Kennedy discovered his 7-year-old cat Allison had escaped. He took to social media, posting a plea for help, including his phone number. But that's when things took a turn.
Got a call from an out-of-state number saying that my cat was hit by a car and it was at a vet nearby and that they wanted $3,000.
He also received a photo that was meant to be his cat on an operating table. Kennedy says the situation was convincing, but luckily he confided in others who suspected it was a scam.
I probably would have believed anything, because I just was not in the right state of mind.
Kennedy says he did not end up sending anyone money, but was losing hope until Allison returned home early Monday morning. Now he is warning others not to fall victim to these types of scams.
I want to share this experience because it could happen to anybody.
Kennedy says he is planning on contacting the police. In Bangor, Grace Blanchard, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
I'm glad he's got his kitty back.
I know.
Boy, there's so many threats out there today.
There really is.
Yeah.
And with the use of AI, it can be really realistic.
Yeah.
So definitely something to look out for.
Be skeptical about everything.
Well, now let's get a full look at our forecast with meteorologist Devin Biggs.
Alrighty, thank you very much, Craig and Janessa. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Quality Automotive and Brewer. Experience a Quality Automotive difference. Reliable service and expert care that you can depend on. Calls to schedule your next appointment, 922-2043. Alrighty, here we go. We have wave heights at around 4 feet this morning, even though it's looking a little active, not enough to prompt any advisories along the coast at this moment in time. And even looking calm further off towards the east. Overall, the ocean definitely looking very peaceful this morning. Meanwhile, further off on land, we're seeing some rain and a little bit of snow developing. It may accumulate in a couple spots, but very minimal. And with high temperatures getting above freezing today, again, the snowfall not looking too terrible. With this area low pressure that will be tracking off to the east, we'll see the snowfall backing off a little bit overnight, and we may see a little little bit of that occurring as we head towards tomorrow. Here's the rain and snow passing through today. It will start to back off overnight for a little while, but as we head towards your Friday, we'll see a little bit of this occurring again throughout parts of your Friday. But again, once we head towards Friday night, we'll see the precipitation backing off and the clouds breaking up as we head towards your Saturday morning. So with regards to the snow accumulations, again, not looking too bad. You may see a little bit, but again, melting away fast with high temperatures each and every day, getting above freezing. And again, with regards to the total amount of water, looking a little bit like this. Again, 1/10 to 2/10 of an inch of rainfall, maybe up to 1/4 of an inch in a few spots before we're all finished up. And this is total water, so taking into account a little bit of that rainfall and snowfall as well. So with regards to the water, we could definitely take it though. Again, make a dent in that drought that we're still seeing across the state. So for today, we got rain and snow showers, otherwise mostly cloudy, with highs in the upper 40s and that northwest wind at about 25 miles per hour. Later on tonight, here we go. Low 30s under a mostly cloudy sky, rain and snow showers again. North breeze backing off to about 5 miles per hour. And then for tomorrow, we have mid 40s, mostly cloudy. We got rain and snow showers and that north wind getting up to about 25 miles per hour. Alrighty, let's check out your extended forecast brought to you by Quality Automotive in Brewer, showing a partly cloudy sky coming up for your Saturday. Highs in the upper 50s, and then low 60s for your Sunday under a mostly cloudy sky. Mostly cloudy Monday, highs in the low 60s.
I said,
the circus is coming! The circus is coming!
Don't miss this exciting new show featuring unicycle juggling, dogs and hula hoops, the Flying Cortez Trapeze Spectacular, glow motorcycling, and more. The Anna Shrine Circus, April 24th, 25th, and 26th at the Bangor Cross Insurance Center.
From the heart of Maine, where rugged beauty meets timeless craftsmanship, Richard Henderson & Sons Masonry, taming the outdoors through groundwork, retaining walls and seawalls, building custom fireplaces that become the centerpiece of your home, crafting granite steps and patios that invite you outdoors, designing hardscapes that turn yards into living spaces, built to last, crafted for life. Richard Henderson & Sons Masonry, quality in every stone.
Ready to create your backyard oasis? Alexander's Professional Landscaping will work with you to create your perfect outdoor space. Work one-on-one with our landscape designer to create a unique garden to fit your family's personal aesthetics and lifestyle. Have our pros install your new lawn, garden, or patio. Schedule a consultation today by calling 573-4497. Alexander's Professional Landscaping, the way landscaping should be.
See the USA in your Chevrolet.
The best way to see the USA starts in a Chevy SUV. With room for the whole family. Added peace of mind for every mile. And range to take you farther.
Get out there and see the USA, because right now, well-qualified buyers can get 3.9% financing for 60 months on all 2026 Equinox models. Plus, no monthly payments for 90 days.
Visit your Maine Chevy dealers.
The circus is coming! The circus is coming!
Don't miss this exciting new show featuring unicycle juggling, dogs and hula hoops, the Flying Cortez Trapeze Spectacular, glow motorcycling, and more. The Anna Shrine Circus, April 24th, 25th, and 26th at the Bangor Cross Insurance Center.
now to the war in Iran. The Secretary of the U.S. Navy ousted from his job, the latest top official forced out of the Pentagon during wartime. Meanwhile, a new report claims it could take months to reopen the Strait of Hormuz, even if there's a deal with Iran.
ABC's Marcus Moore is in Pakistan, where peace talks were supposed to be taking place this week.
This morning, dramatic video aired by state TV shows Iranian forces seizing 2 cargo ships in the Strait of Hormuz. Masked soldiers climbing the deck, searching this ship, long guns at the ready. These scenes playing out one day after President Trump extended his ceasefire with Iran indefinitely.
Feels emboldened by this indefinite extension. It feels it can just wait out President Trump while the damage ramps up to the world economy.
The White House downplaying Iran's actions, saying the seizure of those ships does not violate the ceasefire. Cargo ships and oil tankers are now waiting just outside the Strait of Hormuz, unable to pass in the face of Iran's threats. An officer on one tanker tells us they won't move without safety guarantees.
I honestly cannot say what is worse. If it's the standing by here, waiting and hoping not to get hit, or the uncertainty of not knowing if the strait is open or closed.
Analysts already calling this the biggest energy crisis in history. And now, in the midst of this naval conflict, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has fired the Secretary of the Navy without explanation. There had reportedly been tension with Hegseth in recent months. Meanwhile, despite repeated assurances from President Trump that Iran's military force has been depleted, the head of the U.S. Defense Intelligence Agency says Iran retains thousands of missiles and one-way attack drones that can threaten U.S. and partner forces throughout the region. Another sign of uncertainty, with peace talks stalled and the world watching.
Iran has suggested that it will not return to the negotiating table until the U.S. blockade on Iranian ports is lifted. President Trump says the U.S. blockade scares Iran more than the bombing. Marcus Moore, ABC News, Islamabad, Pakistan.
Well, meanwhile, there are new concerns this morning about cuts being made to funding for research on cancer, Alzheimer's, and other diseases.
Health Secretary Robert Kennedy Jr. was asked about the cuts during a contentious hearing. Here's ABC's Andrea Fujii.
Health Secretary Robert Kennedy Jr. was grilled on Capitol Hill on everything from vaccines to funding cuts for the National Institutes of Health. One senator listed the grants that have been cut, including $94 million for vaccine research, $33 million for Alzheimer's research, and $29 million for cancer research.
I just have to say, cancer is not woke. Neither is Alzheimer's or women who die in childbirth. These are deadly issues. They deserve serious research. I am appalled that it was tossed in the shredder.
Kennedy said he doesn't want to cut those programs, but is being required to because of the government's enormous debt.
We've been asked to cut across the board at HHS 12% of our $111 billion budget. And so we're making cuts that are painful.
Besides the cuts, $500 million of funding for research may go unused because of a lack of staff to process grants and a lengthy new screening process. That's according to the New York Times, which says research spending has fallen about $1 billion behind years past. Kennedy, a vaccine skeptic, also addressed the country's worst measles outbreak in decades in this testy exchange.
Does the president know there is a historic measles surge occurring nationwide?
You want me to answer
the question? It's just a very simple question.
Just want a grandstand.
You're going to get your opportunity.
You want a grandstand.
Does the president know there is a historic measles surge occurring nationwide?
I'm sure he does.
You're sure he does?
Kennedy has in the past called the measles vaccine a personal choice, but he's shifted his tone, saying the government recommends every child get the shot.
Meanwhile, the CDC is refusing to publish a study on certain benefits of the COVID vaccines. Officials there taking issue with the study's methodology. Andrea Fujii, ABC News, New York.
Well, coming up on the second half of the newscast, we'll hear from the Bangor Humane Society and meet our pet of the week.
Today's sports news, too. More coming up on Good Morning Maine.
We are the Dillos. We are from Northern Kentucky. Being out in a rural area, coverage is pretty hit and miss with other carriers, so switching to T-Mobile solved a lot of problems that we had.
I'm able to use T-Satellite now. We've got coverage no matter where we're at.
America's best network meets off-the-grid satellite coverage with T-Satellite. And now switch to T-Mobile and get free phones for $0 down. Plus 4 lines for only $25 per month per line.
Better service, better price, win-win.
At Spectrum, we believe a great connection shouldn't come with compromise. And now, it doesn't have to. Get Spectrum fiber-powered internet. And when you add 2 mobile phone lines, it's just $30 a month each. Experience the fastest internet and most reliable 5G network. And save $1,000 on internet and mobile in your first year. Guaranteed. That's the Spectrum Savings Guarantee. Call now or go online to save $1,000 on internet and mobile.
You're watching Fox 22, Bangor.
Welcome back, everyone. Today is Thursday, April 23rd, 2026, and it's also Movie Theater Day.
This holiday celebrates movie theaters and all the thrills they bring to our lives. Movie theaters are not only great places to relax, they also offer a great venue for romantic dates or a place to hang out with friends and family. But sadly, with the advent of the internet and streaming services, many movie theaters now face extinction and low patronage.
We need to keep going to the movies if we want to see movies at the movies.
I like the movies.
Yeah, it's a whole experience.
Get the popcorn, the drink. Yeah, it's fun.
All right, good day to go see a movie.
It is.
All right, time for history. It was on this day back in 1635, the Boston Latin School became the first public school to open in the U.S. 1789, George Washington moved into the first presidential residence, known as Franklin House in New York. And in 1969, Sirhan Sirhan received the death penalty for the assassination of Robert F. Kennedy. Kennedy was shot to death in California while campaigning for president. Sirhan was a Palestinian immigrant who said he shot Kennedy because of his support for Israel. His death sentence was later commuted to a life sentence after California abolished the death penalty.
And in 1971, hundreds of Vietnam veterans who were opposed to the war held a big protest in Washington. They tossed their medals and ribbons over a wire fence that was constructed in front of the U.S. Capitol building. In 1984, scientists announced that they had found the cause of AIDS, a breakthrough that led to new treatments and offered hope to those affected. And lastly, in 1985, the Coca-Cola Company announced it was changing its formula for the first time in 99 years. The new sweeter Coke was expected to give the company a leg up over Pepsi and the ongoing cola war. However, the new Coke turned out to be a flop, and the old formula was then reintroduced just 3 months later.
You could really tell a difference, too. People
were
happy when the old
one
Coke
came back.
All right, for birthdays today, they include actor and wrestler John Cena, who is 49, comedian George Lopez turned 65, and singer Josh Kiska from the band Greta Van Fleet turns 30 years old today. Very talented guy.
Yes, very.
Happy birthday to you also, if your birthday is today.
We'll turn things right back over to meteorologist Devin Biggs.
And thank you very much, Craig and Janessa. Happy Thursday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Quality Automotive and Brewer. Experience the Quality Automotive difference. Reliable service and expert care that you can depend on. Calls to schedule your next appointment, 922-2043. Alrighty, here we go. Some rain and snow passing through this morning. Not concerned with any accumulations, especially with temperatures forecasted to rise above freezing. So let's zoom things out this morning. We're seeing that area low pressure rotating through, bringing with it the rain and snow that will continue tonight into parts of tomorrow. So again, you may see some of that, especially tonight, but melting as we head towards tomorrow as well. So here's Futurecast with the rain and snow passing through. We'll see some of that for tonight at times, but also for tomorrow, a little bit of precipitation that will be occurring. So some gusty winds, especially further off towards the west today, that could reach up to 20 to even 25 miles per hour. But overall, again, not too bad tonight, but picking up again as we head towards tomorrow. So your forecast for today, mostly cloudy, some rain and snow showers, but again, not looking too terrible snow-wise, with highs in the upper 40s and that northwest wind at about 25 miles per hour. Here's your hourly forecast. Some rain, some snow mixing in. Temperature is in the 40s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Craig and Janessa.
Thank you, Devin. Well, last week we brought you the story of Waldo County women trying to protect over 150 acres of wild blueberry land in their community.
Well, last night, a fundraiser and community event helped them get a little closer to their goal while letting locals experience some Earth Day fun, too.
Our Callie Warren with the details.
Everyone is able to make a little bit of a change in the world, and we're just hoping to do that with these parents.
A group of Waldo County women is seeking to become stewards of 158 acres of blueberry fields in Searsport.
They have been a part of this state, this area of Penobscot territory for thousands of years. We are rapidly losing them. We've lost 100,000 acres in the past 100 years.
The collective hopes to nurture and protect those lands and help them become a community space. To do so, they're fundraising and educating through an Earth Day event.
All donated time. Our collective is all here. There is nothing like the Waldo County community to come together and do good things.
The event featured everything from a yard sale to a raffle and crafting, but the real emphasis was on education around the importance and nutrition of wild blueberries and other native Maine plants.
When you have access to public land, public blueberries, and other medicinal herbs that live among the blueberries, our digestive system, our respiratory system, and obviously our cardiovascular system with that blueberry all found within one field.
The collective's goals are to protect those fields and to preserve blueberries and other plants for generations to come.
Sharing the importance of the wild blueberry, that they're at risk of being gone.
In Belfast, Callie Warren, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Good for them. We need to preserve that kind of thing.
We do.
Yeah.
Well, still to come here this morning, Max Sturm with sports, and we'll meet our pet of the week.
Don't go away.
A few weeks ago, I went down to the basement to see what was happening with the boilers and opened the door, and there was about 12 to 14 inches of water in our basement. I knew who to call right away, and that was Bouchard. They were here within a half hour. They work well with our insurance company. They're very, very efficient, and all I have to do is call them any time of day. They're going to take care of me. Our business is our life, and that's why I don't hesitate to recommend them to other people.
The marathon of life can be challenging. Chores and responsibilities keep us from the things we once loved and the aspirations we set. But it's never too late to find your second wind. With an affordable, fully online program and advisors to help you along the way, you can cross the finish line when it works for you. Finish strong at the University of Maine.
At Toyota, we believe longevity is the true measure of affordability. The longer something lasts, the further your money goes. So with Toyota being the longest lasting brand, your money goes the furthest. Now, during our longest lasting value event, you can get $3.99 for 72 on an affordable fuel-sipping all-wheel drive Camry hybrid with a captivating interior and 2 years no-cost maintenance. See your New England Toyota dealer, your hybrid all-wheel drive headquarters. Toyota, let's go places.
Think you're good at trivia? Arrange these holidays, these historic firsts, these animals. By the way,
I have no idea.
Congratulations, you have built the perfect line. I'm Deborah Norville, and this is the perfect line.
Onion rings before, in between onion rings and pizza.
Definitely after. This is what happy looks like.
Weekdays at 10 on Fox 22.
UFL Friday, the reigning champion DC Defenders, the League Dynasty Birmingham Stallions, Friday at 8 Eastern on Fox.
Welcome back in, folks. Let's start first with the Maine baseball team, who on Tuesday took on the number 22 ranked Boston College Eagles. Right out of the gate, it's Maine getting on the board when Troy Carpenter hits this ball into center field and sends Nick Pepe home. Quinn Murphy would also score later to make it 2-0 in the first. Then Carpenter says, I want to get on the score sheet too, and he does just that. Deep hit into right field, and it is out of here. It's 3-0 Maine. Maine, after 3 innings with the lead, Thomas Stabley was fantastic on the mound early for the Black Bears. Here's a nice strikeout to close out the third. And then Boston crawls back into it, makes it 3-3 in the fourth, but then Albert De La Rosa with a deep hit to left. That sends Hunter St. Dennis home, 4-3 Maine. Then in the top of the ninth, Juju Stevens, and this ball is crushed. It's gone. Maine takes a 6-4 lead. Sebastian Holt now with the game on the mound, and it is the closer. He seals the game with this out, and Maine wins 6-4. That win marks the Black Bears' first win over a nationally ranked opponent since 2018, and what a time to do it. Those boys are on a roll. Folks, tomorrow night is the first day of the NFL draft, and there's a ton of anticipation as it seems to be loaded with talent at almost every position. The New England Patriots won't pick until the end of the night tomorrow, but let's check in where they fall in every round of this year's draft. The Pats hold 11 total picks in this year's draft. Their first will be pick number 31, second to last one of the night. Now, trades can always happen, but this is where things stand right now. Round 2, they will be at pick number 63. Round 3, it's another long wait. They hold pick number 95. In round 4, the Pats have 2 picks, 125 and 131. They'll then pick 40 picks later at 171 in round 5. And then in round 6, team holds 4 picks. And you may say that 6th rounders aren't worth much, but I seem to remember a Pats legend in the 6th round who did all right for about 20 years. And then finally in round 7, they will pick at 247. Now to the ice, the Bruins evened the series with Buffalo and the Sabres at 1 apiece with a decisive win in Western New York on Tuesday. In Game 1, the Bruins went up 2-0 in the second period, even though they were wildly outshot by Buffalo, but former Black Bear Jeremy Swayman stood tall in net. But then in the third period, Buffalo rang off 4 goals in 7 minutes and won the game. In Game 2, after goals by Victor Arvidsson and Morgan Geekie in the second period, Boston found themselves in the same spot as Game 1, but this time they held their ground, scoring 2 more goals and winning 4-2. Bruins head coach Marco Sturm says that the difference in this game was that they ultimately played a better 60 minutes than on Sunday.
No, the guys played great today. They played their way. They played to our identity, let's put it that way. That was Bruins hockey right from the start to finish, and that's why we got the 2 points today over the big win.
Let's melt the ice now and check in with the Boston Celtics, who are coming off of a tough loss in Game 2 to the 76ers. After securing a dominant win in Game 1, the Celtics cooled off significantly in Game 2 versus Philly. Despite a 36-point game from Jaylen Brown and a 19-point game from Jason Tatum, the Celtics could not come away with the win. The game was pretty close through the first 2.5 quarters, but thanks to big performances from VJ Edgecombe, Tyrese Maxey, and Paul George, the Sixers were able to pull away in the fourth, resulting in a 111-97 loss for Boston. Celtics head coach Joe Mazzulla says going into Game 3, there are plenty of things to clean up, and he knows this series will not be a cakewalk.
There's obviously things, that we'll do differently next game, be ready to do differently next game, but at the same time, we have to be aware of what's on the other side of that. And they're a good team, and they put a ton of pressure on those things, and you kind of saw some of that tonight.
All right, we've talked Bruins, we've talked Celtics, and we've even talked Patriots, so let's check in on Thursday's schedule for Boston sports. Thursday actually begins with the Boston Red Sox, who will play their finale game with the rival Yankees at 6 p.m. That game can be found on NESN Plus. An hour later at 7 p.m., it's Game 3 of Boston and Buffalo in the Stanley Cup playoffs. The Bruins are back home now with a tied series. You can watch that game on TNT or on NESN. Then the NFL draft kicks off at 8 p.m. But Pats fans, you're probably not going to be picking until close to midnight. That will be on ABC, ESPN, and NFL Network. Celtics will play Game 3 versus Philly on Friday. That's all the time we have for sports. We'll be right back after the break.
Bring on the spring at the Honda Spring Event with the 2025 Kelley Blue Book Best Value brand. Buy online, reserve from select dealers, or hurry into your local Honda dealer today.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Bush, and I know what you're thinking, not another Bush, but hear me out. I'm not a politician or a lobbyist. I'm a veteran, an entrepreneur who created over 900 jobs in Maine. And as governor, I'll take a sledgehammer to Janet Mills' wasteful spending. I'll slash your taxes, property, and income, and put the Democrats' woke policies in the shredder. I'm Jonathan Bush. It's time for a... Johnny, don't touch the shredder!
Hey! That ought to do it.
Who hurt you?
It's mowing season. And Bad Boy Mowers has the best lineup in the game. Built to win with more power, advanced engineering, and performance that never quits. Whether you're playing on this field or this field. So this mowing season, raise your game and join the team. Bad Boy, mow with an attitude.
Bring on the spring at the Honda Spring Event with the 2025 Kelley Blue Book Best Value brand. Buy online, reserve from select dealers, or hurry into your local Honda dealer today.
Welcome back, everyone. Well, we're joined by our friend Catherine Ravenscraft from the Bangor Humane Society and our new buddy, Boomer.
Our new buddy,
Yeah,
Boomer.
he's great.
He is the absolute best. I mean, look at this. He just, his love. He just wants to be touching somebody all the time. Yeah, he's an absolute doll. I don't remember exactly how old he is. He's got some silver coming in on his face, so I want to say he's 5 to 7 at least.
Right.
Okay.
But yeah, he has a kind of a long, interesting history with the Bangor Humane Society. He was part of a seizure. A local municipality seized 3 adult dogs and 6 puppies. They were brought to us for care. We were not part of the court process.
Right, you're just caring for them.
All we could do was
Right.
care for them, yeah. 10 more puppies were born.
Whoa.
And so there were a total of 19 dogs. And the legal process being what it is, they were just signed over to us. And so we have sent as many of them into adopted homes with foster providers as we could.
Yep.
And he may or may not do a foster to adopt with his foster provider. We're still waiting to see how that pans out. So I'm not sure if he's going to be available.
Right.
But the ones that are still left, you'll see on the website at the beginning of next week.
And plenty of puppies if everybody's looking for a puppy.
Oh my gosh, we've got
Yeah.
3 puppies right now, and lots of adult dogs. And yeah, you know the thing with the puppies, they were puppies. They're not anymore. I mean, technically they're under 2 years old, so they're still babies, but they're full-size dogs. And 4 of them in particular really have only lived at the shelter.
Right.
And they're happy. That's their home as they know it, but they are going to need a little extra TLC, a little extra discipline. We're really going to be very selective about the owners that take those dogs because, you know, they're going to need to learn how to dog, basically.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, we're really asking folks, please watch the website. Once they are available, come into the shelter.
Yeah.
Just come in and talk to one of our adoption counselors because it's going to be a process to get those guys adopted.
Kind of an exciting time, though, to have those animals there to put up because a lot of people, they won't last long once they go either, you know.
Yeah, even with the difficulties. And my experience with labs is that they are awesome dogs.
Right.
And they're working dogs, so
Yep.
they generally require a little more work no matter what.
Yeah.
So we're just hoping that folks are really prepared. There's going to be some house training involved, some leash training.
Well, anytime you get a puppy, you have to expect that anyway.
Exactly. The problem is these are like 60-pound
Right,
puppies.
so a little harder to deal with. Janessa's got a new best friend over here, too.
Oh, look at him,
I
look
think
at
he
me.
likes the little ear scratchies.
He does.
Oh,
as long as you're touching him. He is a bomb. He lives up to his name, Boomer. But as soon as you start touching him, he is like, well, I'm content.
Yeah. He seems very well-mannered.
They're the perfect dogs.
He is. And all of his puppies have this temperament. You know, a couple are a little on the timid side, which is understandable. They haven't been exposed to a lot.
Right.
But they're all just love bugs.
Yeah, look at that big baby.
I know.
Anything else you want to mention today while you're here?
You know, it is kitten season,
Yeah.
so we do need some help with some kitten supplies. We really need some kitten milk replacer and anything else that you can think of that it takes to foster kittens.
Right.
And we also need blankets. We are starting to run low finally on blankets, so as people start that spring cleaning, please bring
them
stuff to
over.
us.
That's the
Exactly.
perfect opportunity.
It is. It
Yes.
is. Yeah. No pillows, but otherwise we take just about everything.
Oh, that's
All right.
great.
Well, Catherine, thank you very much for bringing in Boomer.
Yes, thank you.
You made our day, I think.
Definitely.
So.
Yeah, you did very well. All right, we're going to send it back over to Devin now for a final look at that forecast. Good boy. Good boy.
Yes, you are.
Alrighty, thank you very much, Craig and Janessa. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Quality Automotive and Brewer. Experience a quality automotive difference. Reliable service and expert care that you can depend on. Call us to schedule your next appointment, 922-2043. Alrighty, here we go. We have wave heights at around 4 feet this morning. Even though it's looking a little active, not enough to prompt any advisories along the coast at this moment in time. And even looking calm further off towards the east. Overall, the ocean definitely looking very peaceful this morning. Meanwhile, further off on land, we're seeing some rain and a little bit of snow developing. It may accumulate in a couple spots, but very minimal. And with high temperatures getting above freezing today, again, the snowfall not looking too terrible. With this area low pressure that will be tracking off to the east, we'll see the snowfall backing off a little bit overnight, and we may see a little bit of that occurring as we head towards tomorrow. Here's the rain and snow passing through today. It will start to back off overnight for a little while, but as we head towards your Friday, we'll see a little bit of this occurring again throughout parts of your Friday. But again, once we head towards Friday night, we'll see the precipitation backing off and the clouds breaking up as we head towards your Saturday morning. So with regards to the snow accumulations, again, not looking too bad. You may see a little bit, but again, melting away fast with high temperatures each and every day, getting above freezing. And again, with regards to the total amount of water, looking a little bit like this. Again, 1/10 to 2/10 of an inch of rainfall, maybe up to 1/4 of an inch in a few spots before we're all finished up. And this is total water, so taking into account a little bit of that rainfall and snowfall as well. So with regards to the water, we could definitely take it, though. Again, make a dent in that drought that we're still seeing across the state. So for today, we got rain and snow showers, otherwise mostly cloudy, with highs in the upper 40s and that northwest wind at about 25 miles per hour. Later on tonight, here we go. Low 30s under a mostly cloudy sky, rain and snow showers again. North breeze backing off to about 5 miles per hour. And then for tomorrow, we have mid 40s, mostly cloudy. We got rain and snow showers and that north wind getting up to about 25 miles per hour. Alrighty, let's check out your extended forecast brought to you by Quality Automotive and Brewer, showing a partly cloudy sky coming up for your Saturday. Highs in the upper 50s, and then low 60s for your Sunday under a mostly cloudy sky. Mostly cloudy Monday, highs in the low 60s.
Chevy trucks are as capable and dependable as the Chevy people who drive them. You probably know one, your sister. Your buddy, the ones who always show up. They all have that little extra something. And maybe you got it too.
It's Chevy Truck Month. Just announced, get over $9,300 in total value on this 2026 Chevy Silverado. Plus, Costco executive members can get an additional $1,250 members-only incentive.
Diabetes isn't a death sentence, but it is absolutely a life sentence, and you have to figure out how you're going to keep your kid alive. So when you find somebody from the government that's on your side, and it happens to be Susan Collins at the same time, that was just magnificent. After the meeting in Portland for my wife and son, my wife came back. She was 10 feet tall. She'd felt seen, she felt heard, and she felt like we had a powerful advocate on our side. It was a big step towards healing. Thank you, Senator Collins. Please continue delivering for T1 families.
My name is Rebecca Babbrot, and I'm studying my master's in social work at the University of Maine. After high school, I went to college in upstate New York, but then got involved with life and family, so I had a college education, but no degree. When I first thought about going back to school, it seemed really intimidating. One of the great things about an online program is that you can combine studying as part of your day. I'm actually studying right now. It's such a great feeling to have made myself important in the process and to continue my education.
You know Matt pretty well. Did he give you any advice?
He said that I should use 26 words or more.
When every word counts.
Trash panda.
Raccoon.
You had me a trash panda! That was gangster!
It pays to choose wisely.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
You just won it!
25 words or less every weekday.
Weekdays at 9 on Fox 22.
There's a new member in in the San Diego Zoo Safari Park, a newborn poodoo fawn is one of the world's tiniest deer species. The rare animal is native to South America. Poodoos are famously petite, growing just 13 to 17 inches tall as adults, about knee-high to humans.
Oh, they are so cute, too.
They are. I like their little markings.
Yeah. You know, a lot of people are getting those little miniature cows and donkeys for pets these days.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, one of those.
Little poodoo.
Yeah, a little poodoo hanging around the house.
Well, that's all the time that we have left for this morning. But as always, we thank you for joining us.
Have a great day, everyone.
Today on 25 Words or Less, his new hit HBO show Duster has 92% on Rotten Tomatoes, making it the first project he's ever been in to be certified fresh. It's Greg Grunberg. And joining Greg are college friends Whitney and Katie. Just like on RuPaul's Drag Race, we're delighted to have him here. You know, whenever Carson Kressley isn't available. It's Ross Matthews.